Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News and your daily wrestling newscast for Sunday, September 18th, 2022. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with confirmation from WWE that Logan Paul will challenge Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship on November 5th at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. The official announcement was made yesterday by Paul Levesque at a press conference in Las Vegas at the Doghouse Saloon and Sportsbook in Resorts World.
We need to talk about Crown Jewel, and we need to talk about the biggest spectacle that will be happening on November 5th in Saudi Arabia, when Roman Reigns will take on Logan Paul. For the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. It will be a match like no other. It will be a spectacle like no other.
Logan Paul, who first announced the press conference Friday night on SmackDown, was present to issue the official challenge.
Understand something. I have been wrestling my whole life. This is my sport. This is my industry. It took me a little while to find it. As I came of age, as an entertainer, as a performer, I kind of found my home in the WWE. And that's why I called out the GOAT immediately. It's what I do. And Roman Reigns, you might be the tribal chief. You might be the head of the table. And this might be your sport. But Crown Jewel is my match. Just like I said on my podcast, Crown Jewel, November 5th, Saudi Arabia, is my match. Roman Reigns, you are the head of the table. But brother, in every industry I ever do, I am the table. And Roman Reigns will acknowledge me on November 5th.
Also on hand, accompanied by his entire bloodline entourage, was Roman Reigns.
So we're going to do your little boxing thing, this Logan Paul thing, this spectacle. We're going to have fun with you for a few weeks, but when we get to Saudi Arabia, we're going to smash you. And then after that, it's on you to figure out how to rebuild this castle, how to put it all back together, because I'm not going to go easy on you. I'm not going to treat you like you're in your third match. You are in the deep end now. You're in the water with the biggest shark to ever live in the WWE, and that's at Saudi Arabia. I'm going to show you what God mode really looks like.
News of the upcoming match originally broke on Friday afternoon prior to Paul's appearance on SmackDown. The Crown Jewel main event will be Paul's third match in WWE and Reigns' first title defense since Clash at the Castle on September 3rd. Looking to AEW, next year's Revolution pay-per-view looks to be heading to the Cow Palace in Daly City outside of San Francisco, according to a report yesterday from Fightful Select. A specific date has not yet been set, but previous installments of Revolution have been held in late February and early March. Last year's Revolution in Orlando was headlined by Adam Cole against Adam Page. This would be the first wrestling event held at the Cow Palace since New Japan's G1 special in July 2018, and there hasn't been a pay-per-view held there since WWE's No Way Out 2004. Once one of the premier wrestling venues in the United States, the Cow Palace was the heart of Roy Shire's Northern California promotion, Big Time Wrestling, in the 1960s and 70s, and was host to an annual battle royal that was one of the industry's biggest shows of the year. In ratings news, overnight ratings for Friday Night SmackDown from Anaheim are in, showing that the episode landed in the number one spot for the evening in the 18 to 49 demographic, according to Spoiler TV. The rating in the demographic was a .45, while the overall viewership totaled 2.086 million, down from the previous week's overnight number of 2.217 million. We will report full ratings for the show once they come in early this week. With injury news, here's the Wrestling News' Lou Kipilman.
AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa has just had her first treatment at the South Texas Spine and Joint Institute and expects to continue treatment for 6 more weeks, according to a video statement released yesterday by the champion on her YouTube page. Rosa stated that her treatments would take place 4 times a week administered by Dr. David Kaiser, the doctor who first identified the injury that led to her stepping away from the ring, as of the August 24th episode of Dynamite. In Rosa's absence, AEW has put the interim women's title on Toni Storm, and it's expected Rosa will face Storm to determine the undisputed champion once she returns to the ring. In WWE, Eric of the Viking Raiders is on the shelf for an indefinite period of time, according to Michael Cole during Friday night's SmackDown broadcast. Cole indicated that Eric suffered the injury during the Viking Raiders match on the September 2nd edition of SmackDown, taped August 26th, in which Eric and his partner Ivor defeated the New Day in a Viking rules match. The Raiders have been given a new push since the creative shift under new Chief Content Officer Paul Levesque occurred. It remains to be seen how or if the injury will affect that push. For the wrestling news, I'm Lou Kipilman.
Turning to Lucha Libre, we have this report from our Lucha correspondent, Roy Lucier. NWA Women's Champion Camille released a video yesterday challenging AAA Reina de Reinas champion Taya Valkyrie for Taya's title at Triple Mania 30 in Mexico City on October 15th. Originally, Taya was supposed to wrestle Thunder Rosa, but those plans changed a couple weeks ago when Rosa announced her injury and that she would need time off. And in the IWRG promotion at Arena Noclapan in Mexico City on Friday night, Hellboy defeated Caballero de Plata in a hair versus hair match in what was described to our correspondent as a bloody battle. And finally, turning to Japan, Stardom's annual 5-star Grand Prix tournament continued in Osaka today at the Edion Arena. Red Block winners today were Tom Nakano, Saki, and Koguma, while in the Blue Block, Starlight Kid, Suzu Suzuki, Saya Kamatani, and Julia all got victories. With only 4 shows remaining, there is no clear winner in either block. There's a 5-way tie at the top of the Red Block, with all wrestlers having 12 points. In the Blue Block, Hazuki jumped out to an early lead in the tournament and leads her division with 14 points, but Julia, Mirai, and Saya Kamatani only trail by 1 point. On a week where we've celebrated the 30th year wrestling anniversaries of Yuji Nagata, Tetsuhito Takaiwa, and Taka Michinoku, we can add Jun Akiyama to that list as well. Today, in the main event of DDT's show at Tokyo's Kurikan Hall, Akiyama teamed with Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Tetsuya Endo in a winning effort over Yuji Nagata, Konosuke Takeshita, and Shunma Katsumata when Akiyama got the victory over Katsumata with his wrist clutch exploder. Now in a position of management with DDT, Akiyama is best known for his work with All Japan Pro Wrestling, where he was the Triple Crown champion 2 times and held the World Tag Team Championship 7 times, twice with Kenta Kobashi, and 1 time with Mitsuharu Misawa. Akiyama has also held Pro Wrestling Noah's GHC Heavyweight Championship 3 times. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that the Wrestling News is on Twitter. Follow @WrestlingNewsAV for Arcadian Vanguard's daily wrestling newscast, breaking news, and more. Once again, follow @WrestlingNewsAV for the wrestling news. The Wrestling News is also on Facebook. Visit facebook.com/WrestlingNewsAV to follow the wrestling news. For those who use Amazon Echo devices, make the wrestling news a part of your daily routine. Just say, Alexa, play the Wrestling News podcast. Make sure you add podcast at the end, as Echo can be very particular. And finally, for those who like to consume their podcasts on YouTube, the Wrestling News is available on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube channel. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.